Hey, good afternoon to my North American peeps. It's Carm Capriato. It's Aftermarket Weekly. Another great show. We always do it live. It's every Tuesday at noon. We repeat this as a podcast this coming Saturday. So honored to welcome my friend Andy Bizub to the show. And Andy, let me tell you something. It was March of 21 that you were on with me and actually with Coach Chris Cotton, and we saw your place, your Chicago location. And I think at that time you said, I'll never have a second store or something. I don't know. You were crazy. And all of a sudden we want to talk about that, but we're going to see the Northbrook location today.
Great. Yeah.
Glad you're here. Let's show a picture of Andy's shop. That's the one we're going to take a look at in Northbrook, one of the suburbs of Chicago. But in the meantime, hey, look, Apex has the awards that they give out every year, Shop Owner Service Advisor and Technician of the Year. On August 31st is when the nominations are due. If you go to aapexshow.com/service awards, you can print out the application for each of the honors. I know thousands of people in this industry. We have thousands and thousands and thousands of listeners. I know that you're listening to me when I'm telling you this. I know you know somebody who's a premier shop owner, technician, or service advisor who's above and beyond the call of duty. Please do me a favor, nominate them. Appreciate that. So if you're with us on social media, give us a share, a love, a like, maybe even pop Andy a question or two, give him a high five. We're coming to you live from the Dorman OE Fix Studios, sometimes called My Carm Cave. And we're gonna head down to Dorman in I think just about a month. We're gonna have some fun down there, bring in some field trip videos and show them to you, and do some interviews.
Hey, we all know that fixing cars is different than how the OE builds them. Now, take fuel lines, for instance. Fuel lines run and rust along with the chassis of the vehicle by nature. Now, especially in the colder months, trucks can be exposed to snow, salt, or rain, causing failure due to the corroded fittings, deterioration in the line. Now, to help you in your wallet, Dorman Products' team of engineers have redesigned the typical fuel line. Introducing Dorman's flexible stainless steel braided fuel lines. Made from braided stainless steel over flexible PTFE tubing, this upgraded material features a corrosion-resistant design. Each fuel line is an exact fit with the dimensions of each application. Now, improved durability is the highlight of this new design. This innovation is a Dorman OE fix, which means it's something that the original manufacturer doesn't offer. These fuel lines are quality assured and backed by their team of product experts and more than a century of automotive experience. Hey, want to learn more about Dorman's innovations? Visit dormanproducts.com/tour.
Hey, thanks, Dorman. Andy, you did an episode with me, and it was episode number 711, and it was really great. Start Monday positive and celebrate Fridays. Very inspirational. Thank you for doing that.
Of course.
It was great. Hey, this Friday's Town Hall Academy, wait till you take a look at this group. If you count, it's the entire Aftermarket Radio Network team. These are the people and myself. We create 8 episodes a week for you. Hunt Demarest, Matt Vonslow, Kim and Brian Walker, Chris Cotton. And we're calling this our Moneyball episode. And it seems like everybody's seen the movie Moneyball. And there's a subliminal message inside the movie Moneyball. And I think you're going to love this episode. It is going to be pretty damn cool. Well, hey, listen, Andy, you and we should talk a little business here. Can't wait to, I did a show yesterday with all coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And including Hunt Demarest. He was kind of, if you will, the established accountant he's seeing numbers from everyone. And I asked him a really important question. What do you see coming down the road in the future? And listen, you're a critical guy in our industry, come from the finance industry to the automotive repair business. You've done keynote speeches everywhere. And I know you have your ear and your pulse to the ground. How do you see business transforming in the next couple of years?
I think we got a tough year ahead of us, and I'm talking about everywhere in business. I think we're really just seeing the tough part of the recession that we're going to see. I think probably towards the end of this year and into next year, there's going to be some rough sledding. Now that doesn't necessarily mean terrible things for for us owners, because if your shop is run correctly, if you've got, you have a command of your numbers, and you've coached up your people and your clients as well, to know what to expect. I think it's going to present some opportunities. There may be some acquirable shops out there if you want to go multi-store. But this is going to be a time to kind of, keep your head above the water, because I think people are kind of running out of expendable income, with all the hikes in inflation. Inflation's not going to be coming down anytime soon, I don't believe. And I think it's gonna be a time to be prudent with your spending, with your money management, cash management, and it might not be the time to be like going wild expanding.
Interesting. Well, nothing like a person like you kind of giving us a great lesson on what we should pay attention to. I think I heard the words "cash is king" in there, right?
I've always been conservative in business, probably, to a fault. But it's better to have more cash than not enough.
Well, raising labor rates, I bet you would tell anyone that get it up there, because we're paying so much more for stuff.
Yeah.
And we need to retain our people.
Yeah.
If there's going to be a downturn. Yeah.
Sure. And our people are fighting inflation too, right? It costs them more to get to the shop every day, put gas in their car, put food on their table. And I am completely sympathetic to that. I've passed out gas cards to my crew before. I'll do it again. They need to continue seeing raises to keep up with inflation themselves.
Yeah.
So we need to be charging the proper labor rate. We need to be charging the proper markup on our parts. And people have to understand that, the one good thing about inflation is that it's put our industry finally in a position where we can raise our prices appropriately, because everybody understands prices are going up everywhere.
Yeah. 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 I don't know. Did you stop eating steak, Andy?
Well, also, we've gotten 18 months of supplier price increases. We get notes every week, these prices are going up 6% to 8% and all this, all different kind of
well, thank you for your advice. This episode that we recorded yesterday will come out, I think, within the next 2 weeks. Very profound. I asked some really tough questions to this panel. They nailed it. And, exactly what would a coach or a consultant be saying to top shop operators? And I think top shop operators like see it, feel it, understand it. But the goal of this podcast has always been advance the aftermarket. And that is, I need to drag some of the struggling shops into the top tier by giving them this business acumen. So thank you for that. You told me I'm never going to have a second shop.
Yeah, that was back. So that was back like 2016, 2017. And I really did, I was about 4 years into the business and had turned around a very dysfunctional shop as the first shop that got me into the business. And that was my attitude. One shop is great. I don't want a second. And then an opportunity came along that was just too good to resist. A guy who lived a couple blocks away from me, owns a new car dealership and owned two sports luxury used car dealerships. He was opening a third 40,000 square foot facility. He said, I have a big building. Would you want to rent some space? We're going to be doing 200 to 300 cars a month in sales when we get up to speed. And you can check out all the cars when they come off the trailer and then do whatever work needs to be brought them up to sales, state. And so it was a way to open a shop to have business from day one. So it was the right opportunity. And so I decided to grab it, and it's worked out.
Eddie, that sounds to me like a convincing moment when the word opportunity was so convincing, like you said.
Well, what?
You couldn't say no.
Well, a lot of business is getting yourself in the position to take advantage of opportunities when they present themselves.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you can only engineer so much. You can't force the issue sometimes. And I am not about forcing a square peg into a round hole, but it was the right opportunity. It made a lot of sense. It made financial sense. It made strategy sense. And it came with not only the success of the second location, but that brought on ancillary benefits. Like for instance, one of them, we use American Express Platinum business. Well, after years and years of all of us small business people, we all have personal guarantees on almost all of our debt and all of our sales and everything to do with the business. American Express contacted me and offered us the corporate card program, which takes all of that guarantee off of my personal credit statement. So now all of the business that we do, all the purchasing that we do through American Express corporate is all guaranteed by the business itself, not by me. So immediately I always had a pretty good credit report, but my credit report exploded upwards because all of that, just the monthly debt, just the revolving debt of buying $100,000 of parts every month, that would always hit my credit report. Now it doesn't hit my personal credit report anymore. It's a corporate program. So
nice.
But we were able to do that because we got to 2 shops in the size of purchasing that we were doing.
Yeah, I mean, there's always opportunities based on size and success. Well, good for you. So second location, you had sales right out of the chute then.
Right. And it was a mix. It was like not full retail, but not wholesale. It was kind of in the middle. We couldn't charge the dealership full boat for the work that we were doing. So we gave them a reduced labor rate. And they're car dealers, so they didn't want to do all the work that might be necessary. They wanted to spiff the cars up for sales. So we would do that. It was a good way to get started, but as quickly as possible, I really started marketing and ramping up the pitch to the retail client. And we were a new shop in a new location, so we're unknown. We're not on a we're on an off street, so we're not on a heavily trafficked main street. So we're a destination shop. You got to know about us to come here.
Yeah.
So it was about 1.5 years of marketing, but then the retail really started to kick in, and now, we can charge regular retail rates, and we have a very healthy client list, and we do a lot of most of the cars up here are 7 years old or newer, and we do a lot of performance upgrades, a lot of tuning. But we also do just plain old oil changes, and we've done several engine swaps up here. So we can do it all up here, but we started out with, just having that steady feed of work coming in from the dealer next door. And now the dealer next door, we don't even do any work for him at all anymore. We don't need it. So
did you bring your Euro strategy to Northbrook?
Yes. Well, a Euro plus performance. So we will do the Corvettes, the Vipers, the high performance Mustang, any high performance car.
Yeah.
But I would say 70% Euro and 30% other performance.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of people out there that know your story and that you do not live in Chicago, but still you have 2 very successful shops there. And I know we don't have time on this episode, but I someday would probably, and I know multiple guys like you that they don't live anywhere near their shops, but yet they're so damn successful. Continues to be a good formula for you?
Yeah, it is. And I couldn't do it without the team that we've put in place. It's all about building that team and giving them the tools to be able to really manage the levers of control that you put in their hands. And that all comes down to training. It's really training and taking care of people.
Well,
it's the most rewarding part. Honestly, it's the most rewarding part of this business to me.
Yeah.
Is building the teams.
You seeked training outside the industry for you and your people. Tell us how and why.
Well, so I when I first started as a shop owner, I joined up with ATI. I was with ATI for 6 years. For where I was at that time, they were great. They were what I needed. They were the fundamentals, the basics. After 6 years, we reached the point. It was a group decision as well, because my people would go for training, and towards the end, they started to come back, and they were like, "We're doing everything that they're talking about, and we're actually giving people ideas at the training." So I'm like, "Well, we've squeezed 98% of the juice out of this orange, so it's time to go to something else."
Sure.
So we left ATI. We joined up with Transformers, Greg Bunch's group. Great group. Greg is a fantastic guy. Higher level, more elite level than ATI. what we needed at the time. Really enjoyed the time there. Reached at a quicker pace, reached the point where I felt we had kind of gotten everything that we needed out of that. And then I wanted to go outside the industry. Once you understand KPIs, you understand how the industry functions, and you've got the basics down, then I believe it's time to kind of push the envelope and start going into more upper level business ideas and business training. And I had been a follower of Jocko Willink for years. I read Extreme Ownership, like so many people in this industry. Great book. I follow him, listen to podcasts, listen to him as a guest on other people's podcasts. Always really impressed. I have a son in the service, so we're a very pro-military family. And so I started looking into it, and I started looking at what they offer from Echelon Front, which is his company, his leadership training company. And they have these events called musters. They put them on 3 times a year around the country, different locations. So I signed up for myself and my second in command, Chris, to go to a muster this last June in Denver. And I'll tell you, I mean, it's not cheap. It's $2,500 a person. It was worth every penny. Just a fantastic event, unlike any other event I've ever gone to in training. Just above and beyond, and covering real leadership training. I mean, really talking about getting into the meat of being a leader yourself, and then developing the people around you to be leaders. And I was so impressed by it that we signed up all of our front office people for their Extreme Ownership Online Academy, which is a great offering, which I got to tell you, I actually asked Jocko about this because that's one of the things you get to talk to Jocko himself. You get to talk to Leif Babin, all the other retired SEALs, as well as Jamie Lynn Cochran, who's, I believe she's the CFO. She's the only non-military person in the company. All super impressive people. But I mentioned to Jocko that I had heard this Extreme Ownership Academy. When I talked to them, I found out it's $420 per person per year. And I said to him, I got to tell you, that sounds too cheap to be worthwhile. And the woman I was talking to there said, we hear that a lot. The reason why it's that price is because Jocko wants to make it available to as many EMTs, firefighters, frontline people as he can, and make it affordable so that they can take advantage of it. And I got to tell you, a lot of first responders were at the muster, and everyone that I talked to was paying for it out of their own pocket. Their departments were not sending them, but they paid for it out of their own pocket and saw the value in that training. So that just there speaks a lot for that program.
So it's $426, but you have to go to a muster. Is that what you're saying?
No, you don't have to go to a muster. I wanted to go to the muster because I wanted to see firsthand.
No, I get that. But the $426 was what? Access.
That's an online. It's an online academy where your people get access to all this online content, and there's a 1 or 2 hour per week live meeting with Leif and Jocko every week, where you can get in and you can ask questions. So it's very high value content. And I mean, it's online, so it is for, you got to be a self-starter, but we signed all of our front office people up for it right away.
Cool.
It's just
all right.
You don't have to travel. You don't have to get a hotel room. It's great.
Everybody take notes on that. I mean, thank you that is one heck of a piece of advice for us, Andy. Thank you so much. So Extreme Ownership. If you've not read the book, on my books page on my website is the book. You'll find it, click on it and get it and read it, do it, whatever audio version. Hey, thank you so much. Great insights as always when I hang out with you. Appreciate it. Hey, this Friday, let me see. Oh, new listens. We have new listens coming up this week. Today, the Women of Auto Care came out. It was a great episode with 4 of the ladies that are members of the Napa Auto Care team. Matt Fonslow, Technician Pay, Tools and Taxes with Hunt Demarest. They were on fire talking about all kinds of stuff that technicians should know. And of course, then Hunt was on his own show, the Inflation Reduction Act, that what he knew about it at the time he recorded this. It was so interesting. You may want to get an earful of that. And then Kim and Brian, the top features of an auto repair shop. What kind of website stuff that you need to have. So that was that. I am ready, my friend, to see the virtual tour of Northbrook, of Andy's place in Northbrook. So I am going to play this video. Here we go, Andy. All of a sudden, we lost you, Andy. Hang on one second, Andy. Let me stop this and find out, Andy.
Got me?
Are you? Yeah, you're back with us now.
Okay.
Okay. Let me start this from scratch, okay?
Sure. So this is our front entrance. As I said, we're on a like kind of a side road in a light industrial area. We have a nice parking lot to be able to park vehicles. This is coming around our side entrance. You go, all our cars pull in right there. That was a customer dropping off. And I said to Tracy yesterday when we taped this that you caught us actually at a good time. We're in a big upheaval of kind of rearranging the shop. So you get to see the warts and all, right? It's not
That's right.
all perfectly in place for just for the video. So
I understand. Yeah.
that used to be our check-in counter. We're converting that over to kind of like immediate parts inventory that we pull often. Those are our two service advisor offices right up there. That through that window is our break room, and we have 5 2-post lifts and an alignment lift down at the end, and a mid-rise lift, which you'll see right now. It's behind us right now. That's kind of our fluids and batteries and quick inventory stuff.
Hey, let me stop the tape for a minute and ask you, did you have to put everything in this? Was this just an empty shell of a building?
Empty shell.
Okay. Yep. And how long ago?
We opened April of 2018.
April of 2018. Okay.
Yeah. So we put everything in. Basically an empty shell with the floors were already done like that, epoxy coated, but everything else we installed. And you can see we have a mix of, some vintage up there because now we brought that vintage guy. This is a really interesting car. This is a Safari Rally 911 by Kelly Moss Road and Race, a company up in Wisconsin. A client who lives in Illinois bought this car. It's an unbelievable, huge, high quality build, super unique. Only a few cars like that in the world. That's a replica 356 Speedster.
Look at that.
That needs a bit of work.
So it just begs me to say, how long did it take to get this kind of clientele to bring their, their coveted vehicles to you?
So we were known in the city when I said we recently moved our most senior technician from our downtown location up to the Northbrook location. We did that 2 months ago. And the reason why we moved him was because these kind of cars have pretty much over the last decade relocated from the city to the suburbs. So the city used to have a lot of these classic vintage cars, and a lot of those owners have either left Chicago, left the state, or moved to the Chicago suburbs.
Got it.
So it made a lot more sense to bring this technician who does all of our vintage and air-cooled Porsche work up to Northbrook. Since we have a really good reputation. We have kind of got a regional reputation, especially for Porsche work. We had already established as a player like in the vintage and air-cooled Porsche space. So when we moved him up, we informed all of our clientele, and then we also ran a couple ads just saying that this particular guy, Emo, had moved up to Northbrook and was now all of our vintage and air-cooled service was coming out of Northbrook now. So the clientele followed us, and now we're gaining new clients from around the area who previously, they didn't want to drive into the city, but now they have a place to come to up in Northbrook.
Andy, do you continue to market this specialty to the market, through whatever you're using, if it's Facebook or?
Yeah, so we're a big supporter of the Porsche Club, Chicago Region Porsche Club. And we advertise in their quarterly magazine all the time. We support a lot of their activities.
Okay.
We sponsor their autocross. And then we also, I'm very active on what was Google My Business. Now it's Google Maps. You have to do all your posting on Google Maps. But that's been really beneficial to us. So we get a lot of engagement. Honestly, we get a lot of free social media engagement. I don't pay for boosts. I don't pay for ads on Facebook or on Instagram. We never saw the ROI on those. So now we do organic posts. We're involved with not only the Eurocar community around Chicago, but we're also involved with a couple of charities. And we have a really big Porsche event coming up at the end of August that we're a sponsor of. It's called Checked It Out Chicago. You can go to, that's a cool website to check out. It's checkeditout.cc, and encourage people to go there. And we're having a really big Porsche event at the end of August that's supporting a very important local Chicago charity. So getting into the giving back mode, and then doing social media, telling people what we're doing. We have a lot of great eye candy at both shops, and we promote what we do. And we try to put a really positive spin on the industry, and our goal for our customers is to maximize the enjoyment of their vehicles.
I think you just said a mouthful. Eye candy at the shop. I mean, in many cases in shops all across America, something really unique and clever comes in, right?
For sure. Right. Even if you're working on, if you're a general repair, you get the great cars, and there's always something interesting that you can always educate your client or your potential client about something that's going to be beneficial to them.
Wow. I love to see these upper end cars. I've never owned one. My first car ever was a Camaro, and that was a long, long, long time ago. It was a Rally Sport 72.
Should have held on to that one.
You see, no kidding. Every time I go to a car show, Andy, I'm looking for it because it had the beak and the split bumper. It had the split bumper, and I come close to finding it, because when I do, I'm going to hug it and I'm going to take pictures of me in it. I just can't wait, because I sold it to a friend's daughter, and I thought it was the right thing to do because I wanted to buy a different car. But
sure,
when you're young and foolish, and money did not grow on trees, you had to save it. You had to save it. Anyway, this was great. Good to have you back after we saw your tour about March 20 in episode 46. We're in episode 119 now.
Congratulations.
Thanks for your always good support, and for all the great advice from earlier in the show. And it was always good to see store number 2, store number 3, maybe.
It's a possibility.
See, the guy's got the fever. But one of the things that it seems to me is, and I know you're in that, you kind of know in that multi-store MSO, multi-shop operator syndrome, don't do it because you're keeping up with the Joneses. That's all I got to say.
No, I got to tell you, so one of my primary reasons for if I do a store number 3 is to create more rungs on the ladder for the crew that I have here.
Yeah.
To give them places to ascend to.
Yes.
Absolutely. Make my manager a regional manager.
Yeah.
Move everybody up the ladder.
Career opportunities for your people.
Absolutely.
And you are a guy who cares for his people.
I love them.
Andy Bizub.
I couldn't do what I do without the teams that I have.
I hear you, man. Midwest Performance Cars, Chicago, and in Northbrook. Thanks for being here, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for all you do.